welcome to the 73rd Annual Troy Turkey Trot. I'm Vanita Zahn, and I'm delighted to be here with you, Patrick Linsky.
It's good to be here with you too, B. Thanks for joining us.
It's fun. You know, most of us, if you're running, you've probably done a virtual race by now, but nothing like this. And you guys put together the show and an opportunity to track your race in a way that hasn't really been done before, so that everybody really feels part of this wonderful event that's been going on for so long and is so important to the capital region.
Yeah, it's really something a little different this year. You know, we've all been impacted in different ways, and we've had to adjust and do things a little differently.
Yeah, so, and this is fun. I mean, right now we are sitting in the Freer building, which is under renovation. It's going to be a focal point here in the capital, in Troy, once it's done. They're doing a great job of saving a lot of the beautiful architectural details that have been here. There'll be new office space and community space, and eventually, you know, the Troy Farmers Market will be back in the area. So this will just be wonderful. And to be sitting in here today, you know, just a centerpiece of downtown, right, and knowing what will happen as we go forward.
Even having been here many, many times, you kind of forget how beautiful this staircase is and this particular space.
I have to confess, I used to sneak in here because they have a great loo. And, you know, runners, we're always looking for some place to...
Well, now the secret's out, I guess.
And the secret's out. Now, you folks, we're going to be talking to a lot of people this morning, and also part of the race, and this is really important for so many of the races, and why the push to do virtual and keep the races alive has gone on, is because these raise funds for very important not-for-profits in our community. The Regional Food Bank will be raising money for it today, also raising money for St. Joseph's House and Shelter, another very important community partner for those who are underserved and need a hand.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of good work, and especially this year, you know, the need is up, as they'll tell you. Yeah. So every bit that we can do to help is great. And
then there's the ability to really know who's running what, and we're going to have a leaderboard and keep tabs on all that. And if you don't run today and you want to get a little, you know, see who the competition is, you can go and run tomorrow as well, and run through Saturday, correct?
Through Saturday evening, yeah. So the official start time is 10 a.m. this morning, and then you can run all the way through Saturday evening. And we did something a little special this year. You know, we had the app developed so that we can keep track of everybody. You know, a way to kind of keep people together, even though we can't really be together. Mm-hmm. As we normally would. You know, normally we'd have 6,000, 10,000 people down here in downtown Troy.
Because you've got the 5K, the 10K, the mile, the kids run. I mean, this is really so integral to the community. And I know there are a number of other turkey trots. Don't want to give anybody, you know, short shrift, but this is the granddaddy of them all. You know what I found interesting, Patrick, when I was looking, this started in 1917, and it was just small, and for years this was a 6.6 mile run.
Right. It's been a lot of different distances. It was 6.6 for a while. It was a 5-miler for a while. I think it was even up to a half marathon at one point, and I went kind of over the bridge and back, and I've heard that course was a beast, which is probably why that was short-lived. And then it was again 5 miles or 5.5 miles for quite some time, and then we got into the 10K distance. Mm-hmm. I think when it came back in 1964. It was a 10K shortly thereafter, and then we added the 5K.
The one thing I think most of the runners can attest to if they were running was you guys added a hill early in the race, and everybody came up to it and thought, where did this mountain come from? And it was great because I was in the pack the first time we went through, and it was great to hear everybody just go, whoa. You know, if you didn't feel all together as a running community, you sure did then.
Right. Well, and that's part of the thing. This event is such a big part of this community, and I think a big part of people's Thanksgiving tradition.
It really is.
You know, and so to that end, we really wanted to make sure that we were able to keep something going this year.
Yeah. Well, you know, we keep saying Troy, Troy, Troy. Well, it is Troy, Troy, Troy. And we've got the mayor with us, Patrick Madden, and he's here, and I know he's going to be joining us to share a few words. And come on down, the water is fine. Yeah, and we've got these, you guys have these great Troy Turkey Trot masks, which we've all been wearing until we're sitting over 6 feet apart, so let's be clear.
We actually took the tape measure out and did the thing.
Hi, Mayor.
Hello, Benita. How are you?
It's great. Patrick, you've got another...
I'll check in. You'll check in with me in a little bit.
I surely will.
Mayor, thank you.
Patrick, good to see you.
Mayor, let's talk a little bit about what this means to downtown, to the community, and you've also done some special stuff to bring people in from all over the country.
Oh, we have. We reached out to a number of Troys across the country. villages, cities, towns, and invited them to participate because of the unique arrangement this year with the app. You can run this race anywhere. You can run this race in Hong Kong.
You got a couple of bites and some other political types.
We did. We have elected officials from Troy, Kansas, Troy, Michigan, and Troy, Illinois, all joining us today.
Let's give them a good wave.
So welcome to Troy, New York.
Shout out. I hope their weather is as balmy as it is here today.
Oh, it's something, isn't it? Remember 2 years ago?
It was so cold then. I was supposed to do the 10K, and a couple of us said, no, I don't think so. And then, of course, I came out and did the 5. So.
Well, by then it was up to 6 degrees, so it was balmy.
Right.
Yeah.
How many layers did you wear then?
I can't even, I don't even know.
For the city, what does this do for you, for this as a community?
Well, Troy is known, it's known for its events, it's known for its shops, its uniqueness, its character, and this is just another brick in that wall. It's something unique to the city. It brings people from all over. It's a real homecoming event. If you've ever just come down to be part of the crowd, you see people that you haven't seen since high school. And that's always a lot of fun.
I always call this the social event of the running
season. It really
season.
is. It is when it's warm enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Everybody together warms it up. Mayor, one of the things to start this is always a wonderful moment. The hush falls over the crowd. The national anthem is sung.
Yes.
And we are so fortunate to have a spectacular performer. She has graced the start of the race for a couple of years now. She's also a great and accomplished runner. Olivia Frimpong is going to sing the national anthem. Let's get this started.
Good.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we'd watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Olivia.
Incredible as always.
Spectacular, yes. And Mayor, start the race.
Runners, take your mark.
And they're off.
And there they go.
Even inside like this. I don't know about you, Patrick, but my heart's pounding a little, and it's all very exciting.
It is, you know, I mean, Olivia always kills that national anthem, and it's just such a pleasure to have her here again with us.
Come on, Olivia, come on in. She's going to come up and talk to us a little bit about her racing. This is, at this point, you're coming down, you're running down the street, and everybody's packed in, and you know, you're trying to jockey for a little bit of position and find a space where you can run, and maybe you're with your friends and you're going, it's okay, I'm here, right, Olivia, because you've done this race.
Oh, yeah. Plenty of times.
Talk to us a little bit about, because you have run marathons all over the world.
So my journey started actually in 2013 when I first started running after the birth of my twins. And the Troy Turkey Trot was actually my first 10K. So this race will always be near and dear to my heart. I do it every year, so I did my 10K this morning.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Gotta
you're
get it
good.
done.
I'm doing it after.
You gotta run to earn your turkey, so yeah, it's the tradition. Like, you can't have Thanksgiving Day without having the Troy Turkey Trot. So
I agree. Yeah.
Yep.
And you have a record. You have run every day for 1,100 days.
Yes. So as I started the run journey, Runner's World magazine, they have an annual holiday streak where you run at least a mile every day between Thanksgiving and New Year's Day. And I did it a couple of years, I think in 2014, 2015, and I failed. But in 2017, something stuck with me, and we were supposed to do it. It was me and a couple of my girlfriends. We promised to stick together and run the 40 days all together, and I just kept going. And so here we are, 3 years later. I celebrated on November 23rd, 2017. It started right here at the Troy Turkey Trot.
Way
that was my
to
day one.
go.
And today's day 1100. So.
Oh my word. And is it just a mile, or are you doing more than that every day, or the minimum you're doing a mile?
I do a minimum of a mile every day when I'm training, for different races and things like that. It varies. So I'll have either 3 to 4 day of training runs, and then the opposite days are the mile, just to keep the streak going. But at least a mile every day, that's all it takes.
So if anybody's looking, listen, she's a mom with little kids.
Yes.
So if you can do it, maybe that's why you do it.
Yes, to keep my sanity.
You're also wearing your Black Girls Run shirt, and that's that has grown in the Capital Region.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about the importance of that.
Okay, so Black Girls Run is a national organization that was started in 2009 down in Atlanta, Georgia, and it was a runners group that helped to promote women of color to exercise, to beat heart disease and diabetes and things like that. And so when I fell in love with running, I decided to bring a chapter to the local region here. And so we have a chapter, Black Girls Run Albany. We started in 2016. We have over 600, close to 700 members, and we're just doing our thing, hitting the pavement and making sure that we put our health first and our priority first to keep going with all the things that we balance on a daily basis.
Perfectly said. Olivia, thank you. A happy and a healthy holiday to
Same
you and yours.
Thank
And I'll see you on the road. And
Yes.
I love listening to you.
Thank you.
You're singing, and it's just spectacular. Thank you. I'm going to throw it over to Patrick now to see how the race, the walk, everything's going out there, Patrick.
Thanks, Benita. Yeah, we've already got some people out there. It looks like we had a few people who actually started a little bit early. I had some folks email, and we had a gentleman down in Florida who said, it's going to be a little warm out here by the time it gets to be 10 a.m. And so we said, sure, you can start a little early. So we let them go around 7 a.m. So he's already done. His name's Tim Diamond. It looks like he finished the 10K already in about 56 minutes. Yeah.
That's moving.
Yep.
You got to beat the heat, right?
Absolutely. And there's a couple others as well that have been out there. One of our Roundabout Runners, local club out of Malta. I know they were kind of doing something informal up at 8 o'clock in the morning up in Malta. So there's a few of those guys finished. In the women's 10K, looks like Heather Gregg is finished. Well, we've got quite a few, actually. Heather Gregg, Kim Eisler, Daniel Freeburn, Marianne Ashworth. Again, a lot of those roundabout runners, some gobble hobblers. I love some of these team names.
Gobble hobblers.
They're so great. Mary Shirley, Bridget McCarthy. Those guys have all finished the 10K already for the women. So there's a lot more women already done than the men.
Dare I say they're the ones who are in charge of the cooking today?
Right. Or
At least that's how it is in my house.
maybe they're just better and more motivated, and that very well could be. So we've got a few women in the 5K that are done already as well.
Now, Patrick, if they decide that they can run a little faster tomorrow, can they run again tomorrow? And
actually, yes, they can. If they can go out and better their time tomorrow, they can restart their race and run it again.
And what if you don't download the app? Are you still eligible to be part of this leaderboard if you do you do Strava or your watch and you can plug it in?
Right. So the official results are going to be anybody with a GPS device. So whether it's the app or your GPS watch through Strava, there's a Strava connection on the app. So if you use Strava, you can upload your information right into the app from your watch, and that'll allow you to get on the leaderboard. And then we also have a way to go in and put in your time unofficially. So if you just want to go out and run and time yourself on an old school Timex, Ironman watch, you can do that as well. And then you can just put your results right into Run Sign Up, and you can still be in the aggregate results, but for award purposes and official results, we're only going to use the GPS times.
Sounds good. Well, I've downloaded it, so I'm going to have to crank it up when I get home a little bit later. And we mentioned early on that it's very important that all these races in the communities continue because they're fundraisers for not-for-profits that really help. They're the backbone of our community. And one of them is Joseph's House. And let's take a look. We've got a little video, and then we're going to talk about it.
Joseph's House mission is to provide non-judgmental services to end homelessness. We provide street outreach, emergency shelter, and permanent supported housing for men, women, and children. Last year we served nearly 2,000 people. We served 830 people so far this year versus about 325 the year before. So it's a significant increase in the amount of people on the streets. And in the streets, they don't have access to restrooms that they normally have, or places to charge their phones, or places to wash their hands and sanitizers. So we've worked with partners in downtown to get portable toilets placed, portable sinks. Donations from participants of the Troy Turkey Trot will make a significant difference in what we do. We have increased cost related to supplies, COVID-related supplies. We have more staff to provide safety, and we've increased our hours in street outreach from an 8-hour day to a 12-hour day to respond to the increased need.
And now we have a better understanding of why it's so important to support this race, make a donation, even if you're not running. With me now is Kevin O'Connor. He's the executive director of Joseph's House. Good to see you today.
Good to see you too.
When you learned, that proceeds would be going, your thoughts in terms of how much this helps?
Oh, it helps a tremendous amount. Troy's been a community like that. I remember reading about a mayor 100 years ago, and his slogan was "All for Troy and Troy for all." That's the kind of event this is. And we certainly, homeless services, food, insecurity, there's tremendous need right now. And raising awareness as well as raising funds are incredibly important.
I think a lot of people don't realize, particularly now during the pandemic, how many people, your neighbors, who have become food insecure because they've lost their jobs.
Right. And with homelessness, one of the things, and folks may have noticed, certainly in the capital region, there are twice as many people who are unsheltered, who are staying on the streets than there were a year ago at this point. Perhaps some folks are afraid of coming into shelters because of fear of contagion, but we've had to adapt like everyone else in our services, and we increased the hours of our street outreach program. We've connected with nearly 1,000 people who are staying on the streets in both Albany and in Rensselaer counties, providing food, basic needs, as well as information referral. Our first sense is to keep them, our staff, and the community safe. Try to encourage people to get into shelters, because shelters are indeed the safest place, but also into housing. We placed 62 people directly from the streets into housing last year. We also run a shelter for both single adults as well as families, and keeping them safe. And then we have 208 tenants in permanent supported apartments that we also keep safe. So we've all had to adapt. I have great admiration for the staff that works with Joseph's House and Shelter. They do a tremendous job keeping people safe, treating people with dignity and respect, and engaging folks in this very difficult time for everyone.
Yeah, and then I would imagine you were concerned if you would still see the kinds of donations as people are struggling across the board, folks who might have donated in the past.
Yeah. People are being very generous. They're recognizing the need and they're stepping up. We couldn't do this work with a lot of partners and collaborators, whether it's industry, whether it's foundations, individual givers and contributors through the Turkey Trot here. We've had a tremendous year and donations for folks who register and are running in the Turkey Trot. So I want to thank everybody for that. And
we'll do the thanks in a sense going forward, because if you haven't already registered, you can still register, right on through Saturday night.
TroyTurkeyTrot.com.
And the money is so very needed and so well spent supporting others in our community. Kevin, thank you.
Thank you, Benita.
Thanks so much. We're going to head it back over to Patrick. Race Director Patrick, how's it looking out there on the roads?
It's looking pretty good. We've got quite a few people out on the road in the 5K right now. I've got some mile splits. There's a couple of anonymous runners. I guess they don't want us to know either how fast or how slow they think they are. But we've got a few of those. Landon Green's running about a 7-minute mile pace. Devin McGurrick is running about a 7:10 pace. Kevin Metzger's running about 7:20. Thomas Fogarty from Bypass Gives, or Best Pass Gives, is running about a 7:20 mile. We got Kevin Johns from Kath's crew. A whole bunch right now from the 5K are out there. I don't have any 2-mile splits yet, but lots of 1-mile splits out there.
That's looking good. We'll get back to you in just a couple of minutes, Patrick, because we've got Uncle Sam with us. If he's not in garb like this, it's Fred Polnish.
Polnish, yes.
Good to see you, Fred.
My pleasure.
Usually it's at a parade, but this is
Yes.
our own kind of parade today.
Yes.
How did you get involved celebrating Uncle Sam?
Well, I sing with the Uncle Sam chorus, and years ago they needed an Uncle Sam, and I was asked to be it and consented, and now I'm Uncle Sam for the last 20 years or so.
Did you do research into him? Do you feel like you're walking history?
Sort of. Making my own history.
There you go. What's the best part about being Uncle Sam?
Oh, meeting the people and greeting them, and especially the young kids, the children. They seem to enjoy having their photos with me and being with me, and they're a delight to be with.
What kinds of questions do they ask?
Is the beard real?
It
How
is.
old are you?
Do you ever make up how old you are?
No, I'm 244 years, because I was born on July 4th, 1776.
Well, there you go.
And the Declaration of Independence is my birth certificate, so there you go.
As you look over this race this year, and it's so different for you because normally you're walking in the streets and the crowds, give us a sense of your perspective of doing this virtually and doing it like this.
Well, it's quite different, and I like it because I'm not running anymore.
Makes it a little bit easier on you.
Yes, it was easier getting here today.
Parking was a breeze, wasn't it?
It sure was.
So for anybody who hasn't signed up, Fred, Uncle, what would you say to them to get them to sign up, do the walk, do the run, make a donation?
Yes, they can still do it. There's still time, I understand, so why not? And enjoy themselves, yes.
And I know the pandemic keeps you away from people, but do you still find that you're able to connect with the community and spread the word of Troy?
Yes, I think it's still available and you can do it. Talking to people, even with a mask on.
And you have a great mask, too. So it suits the costume.
Definitely.
Well, I know your clothing, not a costume. Uncle Sam, thank you. Happy and healthy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, for you too. Thank you.
Patrick,
Thanks.
you've got some winners to tell us about, don't you?
Well, I've got quite a few folks still out on the course.
Winners,
like I said,
we're still running.
I kind of want to check in with the women's 5K next, and then we'll check in on the grade school mile as well for the boys and girls. So for the women's 5K right now, it looks like we've got Jessica Nash is still in first place. She ran about a 7:18 pace. But there's a couple of women out there that are running a little bit faster at the moment, so it looks like she might get caught. Stacy Ferrara is coming right along, and they're closing the gap. So then I want to go over and check on the top girls in the mile race. Mm-hmm. We've got Tiffany. She's running about a 9-minute mile.
That's nice.
Nice, yes. And Julia Biggs is finished as well. She ran a 13-minute mile, and a couple others as well. So we'll check in again and see what's going on with the boys' mile and some of the other races.
They are moving. Thank you, Patrick. You know, we've been talking, we just spoke about Joseph's house, and the Regional Food Bank is also a beneficiary of this, the Troy Turkey Trot. So before we bring in the executive director, let's take a minute or two. We've got a nice video to introduce you to the great work that the Regional Food Bank does?
The Regional Food Bank is a not-for-profit organization, and we work to alleviate hunger and at the same time prevent the waste of good food. So we do that by working with the food industry and collecting large donations of food that's still perfectly good to eat, but that they cannot sell, maybe overproduced, nearing code date, many different reasons. So we collect that, bring that back to our warehouse in Latham, and then provide that back out to food pantries, soup kitchens, homeless shelters, and many other agencies serving hungry people throughout Eastern New York. In mid-March, we knew things were going to be different, that the need was going to skyrocket, and we were going to be called upon to do a lot more. So we've increased, every aspect of our operation was impacted. Sure, the Troy Turkey Trot has been great to the food bank. We've been a recipient charity now for many years, and those donations are very, very helpful to us. Every donation we receive, every dollar we spend at the food bank, we can provide 4 meals worth of food for people in need. So every dollar a trotter donates to us, they're helping a family in need. They're putting 4 meals on the table for people who are struggling. And there are so many more people struggling right now. Those donations are going to be more important than they've ever been.
And just incredible work that's been going on for so very long at the Regional Food Bank. And Mark Quant is the Executive Director of the Regional Food Bank of Northeastern New York. It's always good to see you, Mark.
Thank you, Benita.
You know, we are at some 50,000, is it people? 50 million people in this country? 50 million people in this country. Yep. Food insecure right now, and that number is growing. It was during, I guess, the recession, it was up to 53 million, and we're starting to close in on that. Yes. What are you seeing here in the capital region?
Well, our food distribution is up 40% since the pandemic hit in mid-March. So you can pretty much assume from that about 40% more people have needed help from the food pantries and the other organizations we serve and the drive-thrus that we've helped organize. We're reaching a lot more people. And
I think folks don't realize in this land of plenty how many people are hungry and not sure where their next meal is coming from.
Yeah, and it precedes the pandemic. We were here all year long, and Joseph's House does the same kind of work, working with homeless people in the city of Troy. And so the food pantries are here every day serving people in need in our community. And certainly nobody ever expected anything like this to happen, but everybody has accepted the fact it's here, changed the way they operate, and worked hard to reach and serve more and more people.
What would you like us to do as a community? I know, sign up for the race, and there's a donation there, but even beyond that, what do you need?
Well, just the ongoing support is so critical. So being part of the race, obviously, and contributing in that way. There are different ways people can help. For the food bank, we really depend very heavily on volunteers, so your personal service is very important, and I know a number of other nonprofits depend on that. Financial support, and for us, food donations also. So
I want to stop you for a sec. Right now, during the pandemic, how's it going vis-a-vis volunteers? A lot of folks just don't want to go and mingle.
It's been okay. So at first, it was very difficult. We had to cut back on the volunteers internally. We lost a lot of volunteers. All the group volunteers were pretty much gone. But we had to space people out so we could take fewer people. When we could take 20 or 30, now we were only taking 10. But we were able to set up an off-site warehouse for our volunteers during the day. And for a lot of people, they were out of work and they had some time. They were home, and they really enjoyed the opportunity to get out and do something with their time that was productive and very helpful. So we've been okay. But we know that there's still a lot of work that needs to be done.
So food donation and cash, because then you can go out, checks, you can then go out and purchase specifically what you need.
Well, and just to transport the donations in, to deliver the food back out to agencies, even if it's a food donation, it's coming in for free, it costs money to actually conduct the operation.
Before I let you go, Mark, do you ever have days where you're worried you walk in and the shelves are just not as full or maybe bare?
It's been good so far. So we've been fortunate that the federal government did expand some of their programming and add a program on that provided some food. New York State's done a great job. Their Nourish New York program helped the farmers and gave us money to buy food from the farmers. And then food donations have been pretty steady, so our inventory's been good through this. But 2 of the federal programs are going to end at the end of the year, so
We're confident things will be okay, but we have to work very hard and depend on the support that we get from the community. We cannot function as an organization without the generosity of our community. Unfortunately, we live in such a generous place.
So thanks to everybody who has signed up. They can still sign up through Saturday night at 11,
Right.
and portion of
And their contributions make a difference. They help people's lives. They really do.
Mark, thank you.
Thank you, Benita.
And as I've been saying, I'm wishing you a happy and
Happy
healthy.
Thanksgiving. Yeah, thank you.
Take care. And Patrick, you're keeping an eye on that leaderboard.
I am, Benita, but before I get back to the leaderboard, I just want to say, you know, people can, even if they don't want to sign up and do the race or even run virtually, they can still donate. They can go to the registration page and click the donate button and still donate to our charitable causes, both the food bank and Joseph's House and Shelter. So keep the donations rolling in. It's very important. And as somebody who's actually volunteered at the food bank, it's actually a great time. You go down there, you spend a few hours sorting some boxes and food and helping people get stuff onto trucks. And it's really a great thing to do. So just if you have a few hours here or there, go to the food bank, volunteer. And I know that Kevin can use some volunteers at St. Joseph's House as well. So back to the leaderboard real quick. We've got Heather Gregg still with the Gobble Hobblers, is finished in the 10K. We have quite a few people at the 2-mile mark right now, not quite as many at the 3-mile mark. But we've got Caitlin Gray, she's averaging a little under 8-minute mile. Nicole Ware is averaging an 8-minute mile. So it looks like there's a pretty good battle going on there. And Dana Endres from the Rensselaer Running Group is averaging just a little over an 8-minute mile. So there's some good competition going on in the 10K women's, and we'll throw it back up to you.
Okay, and George, you're up, so you got to be looking here now. George Regan, if you don't know him, you will in just a couple of moments. He's ubiquitous to the running community here in the Capital Region, a finger in every pot, and clearly instrumental in the Troy Turkey Trot. So glad you're here.
Thank you.
You know, he's been organizing as we've been going. This race has seen has had so many different faces. Which one do you like the best when you're out there, you're taking a look at everybody, you know, the different length races, the different racers?
I like the history of this event. I was always a history buff. And the fact that it started in 1916 and this today is our 104th anniversary really kind of gives me tingles up the spine, you know. But that history, that's 5 generations. So you can see how important this event is to the community. And the community really responds. You know, we raised more money this year with 50% less runners 2 weeks ago. Yeah, for hunger, outrun hunger and homelessness.
People give of their
really
heart.
Giving.
Yeah.
And that shows you that you have an event with community. And an event like that comes with history. That's why I like history.
This is the 73rd running. It's over 100 years, as you point out, 101. What happened in between? When were the years we didn't run?
Right around the war years, right around the Depression, from about 1929 through the Second World War, they didn't have it. So that put us out about 23 years.
When you sat down to reimagine this year, virtual, and Patrick and I talked, there have been a lot of different types of virtual races. What vision did you have, and did it come to pass?
Well, yes, the visions I had were that people could actually feel, because COVID is so insidious in the way that it separates us, it separates families, it was important for me to bring people back together with this event. And the only way I could do that is if they could run. And the only way they could run is if we have GPS and they carry it with them. Otherwise, how do we know what their time is? And there was an app out there, was developed by the New York Roadrunners Club for the New York City Marathon, that we bought and we used here. And so, yes, that was important to me that app was in place so people could actually get awards and run together and see their friends and family as they're running through the app. So that was a good thing.
And I suspect, George, that when you heard Olivia sing, you knew that you were off and running.
Yes, we had to bring Olivia back and the flag.
Yeah.
That is really, and that's all about history too, the history of our country and how we got to this point. That's all symbolized in the flag itself. So, it's a very special moment for me right now.
I'm going to leave it be right there.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. You did a great job putting this all together. Everybody's out there running because we keep getting updates with Patrick.
Yeah.
So, Patrick, what's the latest from the road?
Well, Benita, it looks like we've still got quite a few people. The numbers keep growing, and there's just more and more people getting out there, which is really encouraging. It's great to see everybody kind of trying to run around the same time. That was the whole point of this thing, was to give people a chance to kind of compete against their family and friends and in a friendly way and get out there and still have some camaraderie. So it's great to see so many people out there. Right now, I just want to check in on the kids 1 mile on the boys' side. And so we're going to look at the boys. We've got Nicholas Panisi. He ran a 9:56 mile, and there's a couple of anonymous runners, and Alex Shavy ran just a little over a 10-minute mile. So those guys are doing great. I want to check in again on the top girls for the grade school mile. Looks like Tiffany's still in the lead there with just a little over a 9-minute mile. And then the 5K men, we've got a lead switch there. Looks like Matt Blair is now in the lead. So we will throw it back up to you, and we'll come back and get some more results in a little bit.
Sounds great. And you know, when I was driving over here, I saw a couple of fellas out running on the course. I know we've discouraged that, so we're just going to say they were out for a little run in Troy. And Santa was with them. And one of the fellows who was running this morning, but I don't think you were with them, Bill. Bill Fagan is with us. He is a longtime trotter, a third-generation Troy business owner, and you ran this morning.
I did. To me, the turkey trot is part of the tradition of Thanksgiving Day, and you got to run the turkey trot on Thanksgiving morning. I didn't want to do it Friday, tomorrow. I didn't want to do it Saturday. I wanted to do it on Thanksgiving Day and keep that tradition alive, and we did.
Did you do a 5 or a 10K?
I did the 5K.
How'd you do? Did you post?
The course record is safe.
But you know, every day, I think, for a runner is a PR, a personal record, because we are battling different things in our lives. And it may be the very best we can do that day.
Yeah, you're really running against yourself. And you're always there every year at the 8-minute mile mark before we start. Years ago, you went out the night before and you stayed up late, and you went down, and now you go to bed early. You put on some patella straps. You take a couple, take a couple Motrin, and you wait for the gun to go off. So you're running against yourself, and you try and do a little bit better if you can.
You know, I was talking with a longtime runner the other day. He's no longer able to run. His body, he's hurt. And we talked about the fact that, yes, you run, it's a personal, private race in many ways, but you're part of a community. And running like this, Bill, did you feel still part of the community?
You do, and George and his organization have done a great job this year of connecting. We didn't realize how many Troys there were in the United States of America.
Right.
So now we're not only running against the Capital District runners, but we're running against all the other Troy runners throughout the United States. So the level of competition has increased dramatically. That's probably why I ran this morning by myself.
And you notice I didn't ask you what time you turned in. My question, though, is, are you going to run again, or do you like the time you turned in?
I like the time I did this morning.
You did great.
A couple seconds slower than last year, but that's okay.
Here or there,
That's
right?
okay.
You're still running, and you're going to get to eat dinner as well.
That's right.
Bill, thank you. Thanks so very much. And hey, maybe the folks who are running from different states and cities now will see how great this is and find the next year they're going to come and book in. So stay in touch with us. Let us know if this was your first time and you're coming back.
The Trot for Troy is the start of the official start of the holiday season. So, it's important to keep it going.
I'm not going to disagree with you. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Patrick, more runners, more leaderboard.
Yep, thanks, B. And just to kind of follow up on what Bill was saying there, and you as well, it's just any day you can get out and run is a blessing. So no matter what your time is, or no matter how fast you're going, or whatever, it's good to be out there, and it's good to be out getting some exercise and some fresh air, and just being able to do that, especially kind of in the situation we're in currently. And I know I spoke with somebody yesterday, Paul Gansel. He's 78 years old, and he's going to be out doing his 5K this morning around his neighborhood, and he used to coach at Colony, and he's been a long time part of the running community, and he said, I'm glad you guys are keeping this going. So Paul, hope your race is going well out there. Right now I'm going to check in on the men's 5K. We got a pretty fast one going right now. Matt Blair just turned in a 16:52 for the 5K. That's a 5:26 minute mile. We've also got a couple others under 7 minutes. And it looks like we've got a couple in the 2 mile split area that are going pretty fast as well. 6:30s, 6:25 pace, and several well under the 8 minute mile mark for the 5K. We've also got quite a few running just a great race out there in the 8, 9, 10 minute mile range. So it's going well out there, Benita.
Sounds good. Let them warm up the course for you and me a little bit later.
That's
okay,
right,
Patrick?
yeah.
Patrick,
We gotta keep our motivation up.
That's right. And we've got another friend of ours, Bon, if she's watching. She'll be joining us. But Patrick, we know you're going to start with this, and then we're just going to be looking at your dust as you race out in front of us. George Regan's back with us now. And George, you were saying earlier that you're a real history buff. And this is the 12th the nation's 12th and the world's 64th oldest road race.
Yes.
Quite an accomplishment to keep it going.
It really is. And, those were my predecessors before me. So I have some pretty large shoes to fill. And, be honest with you, this is an event that you really have to love to put the kind of energy and time into it. But, when you have supporters like Mayor Madden, the city of Troy. I mean, he just pulls out all the stops for this, and that's a huge support mechanism. The cleanup and the making sure the streets are safe and all that. So that's huge. And talk about huge is Thanksgiving has surpassed the 4th of July as the busiest running day in the country. Mm-hmm. There's over 1 million people that participate in running events, and over 6,000 events on this day.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, and so this is what's powering the Troy Turkey Trot. All of this history, all of this tradition.
And that may be why, first you put out the request, and it sounded like fun, why so many mayors in other communities named Troy have decided to run. I know that Troy, New York's Mayor Madden wants to thank all of those who have signed on and doing the run in their own communities, and we hope that they're having a great day, and we really welcome you to this community of runners and the support that it provides here in our community. And I hope that, I'm sure you're serving as a beacon in your community of Troy to let folks know to get on out and be there as a partner with the folks who are your neighbors.
Yeah, and that is support. And to be quite honest with you, when you talk to me about support, the sponsors that help us put this event on, that support's been there for years too. So monetarily, we can afford to do it. Pioneer Bank, William J. Fagan and Son, who you just had on, he loves the Turkey Trot as much as anybody I know. The Choice Physical Therapy, Erin, she works to keep people healthy. She's a physical therapist, And of course, Bryce Realty, they own this space. I've been with them for 20 years with a space to actually hold the event in.
Yeah.
And what a glorious space.
Isn't it, though?
This is history, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
a lot
really
of tradition
stunning.
here.
I know. To be able to come in and see the wrought iron work and the woodwork is just...
And how about that skylight?
Right?
Have you 1904 that was built. So that's what Troy has. It has a lot of this these special little things. And I'm sure all the other 16 Troys around the country have that special thing. That's what keeps people there.
It does.
That's what makes a community.
I want to give a special shout out to the mayor of Troy, Michigan, Ethan Baker, for signing on and being part of this. And I suspect if we ask, you'll probably post some pictures so we can see you out there with thumbs up and whoever you ran with today. And we want to let you know that we thank you so very much for being part of this and joining the next page in the history of this race. So Mayor Baker out in Troy, Michigan, thank you. I hope you had a great run today as well. I'm sure you did. And that turkey always tastes better.
Doesn't
after
it?
you do a long run.
You don't feel as guilty, do you?
No, you really don't. Patrick, I'm going to send it back to you because you've been keeping an eye on the growing number of runners.
Yeah, Benita, it looks like we've got probably over 300, between 300 and 400 runners out on the course right now in various distances. So that's pretty amazing. Everybody's getting a chance to run together. And obviously with the app, they can kind of click back and forth and see how their friends and family are doing and what's going on out there. And if they need to pick it up a little bit, or if they think they feel safe that Uncle Jimmy's not going to catch them at the wire. So yeah, we've got about between 300 and 400 runners out on the course right now between the various events. I'm going to check in on the women's 5K right now. We've got 21:54 by an anonymous runner who overtook Jessica Nash, who had turned in 22:34. Jessica was another one of those that ran early this morning. And so that's what we're going to continue to see, I think, is that as people start later in the afternoon, we might see some of those positions change throughout the morning and maybe even into the weekend as people try to run some better times. But it looks like we've got quite a few decent times out there right now being turned in. Heather Craig's been able to hold on to the 10K in the women's currently. And looks like we've still got that one really good time. Matt Blair turned in a 16:52 in the 5K for the men's on the men's side.
So a lot of great running going on out there, and I know that really warms the heart of Troy Mayor Patrick Madden, who's here to kind of help us wrap it all up and how you felt this went, and as you look out on the landscape from here.
Well, it's very exciting to listen to Patrick report the results in real time. That's just fascinating to me. You know, this is a tough year, but I think people have been very creative to find ways to preserve elements of our traditions that are meaningful to us, to bridge the gap. Hopefully next year we'll be out on the streets again, but I'll be very curious to see how we blend what we learned and did this year with how we traditionally run the race and make for a better experience for runners, not just here in Troy, but across the country.
Have you made a few new friends across the country in other cities in Troy?
Well, I was invited to Zoom in to the city council meeting in Troy, Kansas. Thank you to Mayor Becerra there. And I know they put together a team. I met Mayor Baker from Michigan, Troy, Michigan, and I know he was personally going to run. And he put together a team as well. And Mayor Adamite from, let's see if I have got this, Illinois. They were putting together a team as well. So I'm going to be looking for their results come the final publication of results. See
now
how
you're not running this year.
You know, my orthopedist said once he replaced my hip, he said don't do that anymore. But I dearly miss it. And maybe I hope he's not watching, but maybe there's a turkey trot or two in the future for me.
Maybe,
yes.
or at least some good walking.
Yes, yep.
Coming up. And before we wrap it out, anything you want to say to the rest of your community? Any thanks? I know we all want to thank George and, of course, yes, Patrick and everybody who has signed on to do this. Sure. You know, the crew who's built the set and is working and making sure that, you know, they can see and hear us. Yep. Tip of the hat to all of you. Just incredible work to get this done.
Every race involves just countless people who have put in their time to make this operational. You've mentioned some of them. I'd just like to call out Mark and Kevin again. Mm-hmm. You know, if you have to go through a pandemic, you want those guys on your side. They run terrific organizations, and we're blessed to have them serving our community. And I know how hard they've been working this past year. So If you're not running and you haven't donated, you can go online and donate. If you are running and you donated, nothing stops you from donating again. So let's show our thanks by helping others.
Well said. And we're sitting in the gorgeous building here.
This is
and
something, isn't it?
This we'll watch this as the renovation work continues, and then we can all come together. And thank you.
Next year we'll be out there together on the street. And thank you. Thank you for giving up your Thanksgiving morning. And now you have to go home and run.
I do.
And then cook. And then eat.
Exactly, but that's why we run. We run so we can eat, but we run to be part of a community. And just a quick reminder, if you didn't run, you don't think you can still make a donation to Joseph's House and to the regional food, because you can do it right through here.
Yes.
And just sign on. So I want to thank you all. Patrick, whoops, there goes the pen. I will see Patrick on the road in short order. And thank you all. Have a very happy, a very healthy Thanksgiving. And Mayor, I think we're going to put our masks on and head on, ease on down the road. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.